Alrighty. Tense music. Right, picking up where we left off. So we managed to squeeze in the treehouse yesterday. And now we're heading back to the temple. One of the nicest, kindest, non-verbal monks whose temple is currently caked in manure top to bottom. It's a heck of a story, I'll fill you in as you go, but basically they're not here right now, and I thought it would only be right and neighbourly to get it hosed down in their absence. Sure. Yeah, there's undertones to the story. We're not going to delve into too much this time around. We enjoyed that in our early access playthrough. Alrighty. Sprint up the hill. I don't know why they don't just put you at the entrance instead of all the way down by the van. We have a couple of ladders, weirdly, and then a massive scaffold. We also have a gnome on top, which is technically the achievement is to clean under the gnome and then leave it there, like have it return to the same place. You actually cheese it by resetting it. Okay, that thunk reminded me about the audio settings again, because I keep forgetting. There we go. Let's just set that back again. And climb our way to the top. And we can actually parkour your way all the way up here. So this dude you need to put back into the same place, or you just have to spray really carefully right up underneath him. But then I seem to remember this bit just didn't clean fully if you didn't move him out of the way, basically. And you've got to be super careful. Just tickle his feet a little bit. There we go. There we go. I know what you're thinking, usual YouTube nonsense, but don't worry, all I want is for you to do less. Like the video, it lets me know that you enjoyed it. Express yourself in the comments, tell me what you think or what you want to see more of. Subscribe if you haven't already. I know recommendations are all you really think that you need these days, but if you find yourself clicking on my videos anyway, maybe click that button so you don't miss a release, since my time zone is weird. And lastly, share the video with others if you think they would enjoy it, because who doesn't like some chill vibes narrated with a Kiwi accent? Thanks very much for watching, and I hope you enjoy the video. The worst part is then when you finish this, if you do manage to get it done, so the roof ridge is the thing that you're trying to clean, figureheads don't count for it. It's just the roof ridge. If you somehow manage to clean it and not dislodge the gnome, but then you go down and then dislodge it by like shooting up at it accidentally, that's the worst bit. So what you almost want to do is leave it until last. Just kind of counter to what I normally do. I usually do things up the top first. But if you leave it till last instead, then maybe you can get away with it. And then you just reset the map. Like, if you go out and back in again, then he'll just appear on the top again. I'm curious to see how close I can get it though. I think it's going to not clean because of that little bit underneath them. Yeah, it's not going to ding. Just that tiny little bit. And if you pick him up and drop him down again, then he's almost guaranteed going to topple. So if we do this, and then like, you can't crouch, okay. And just drop him. Ooh, 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 ooh. He didn't fall off the roof yet. But he's already got a bit of a lean on now. And there he goes. I think it doesn't matter if he's standing up though. So you just bobble him around until he kind of settles. Because he should lie on like his back. Such a pain in the ass though. There we go. So that would probably count for the achievement. I already have it, so I can't tell. I do intend to maybe do an all achievements run of this, like run it back again. But I'd have to use a different Steam account to know if I got them or not. So, but it's easy to create a second Steam account just with a I think you can even use the same email address, to be honest. It's just a separate account. I'm not actually investigated. It's the sort of thing that career streamers tend to do. Hey, Mr. Smarty. Hey, Jay, see what I did there? I do. I do, and I appreciate it. Welcome up. I was fixated on my gnome issue. But there's gnome place like home. Whip, and we keep falling off, but that's fine. See, now, like I said before, the tricky thing is that if you're shooting up at the roof from these angles, you might accidentally just knock that gnome off again, so you've got to be careful. Especially with this Pro Washer, because it's got a much larger reach than what you might realize. So you might just do it without even meaning to. Clean off frame, there we go. Bob. Those boards and stuff will only clean from the sides. You do a lot of it from the scaffold. You don't really have to get up onto here, but getting onto it is the best way to do under the eaves here. Because from the ground, the building sticks out a bit too much to get the angle to get right underneath. The figureheads are a little bit annoying because you've got to kind of clean on the insides of the mouth, essentially, of them. This side's not too bad because you just stand on this one. And once again, you can kind of see the gnome there, so you've got to be careful you don't knock it. It'll just be the side now for that. Steve Achievement Manager still bannable? Not sure what you mean. Oh, is that like some plugin sort of thing or extra program that resets them or something? I don't know. No idea, I've never looked into it, because generally once I've achieved something I don't want to get rid of it. I don't know, because I mean, Steam achievements kind of don't matter for anything, they're not monetizable or anything, so I don't know why using something for it would be bannable, but I would avoid any third-party shenanigans. I suspect that it's less what it does and more how it does it, and it's just a case of any third-party application that interferes with your Steam data would be a no-no for terms of use with Steam. So, best just not really. Will this be a video? More commentating than normal? Hype Fairy. It will be a video. I usually get into the commentating, it just depends on, you know, if people are in chat, I'll chat with them. There's less commentating on truck sim videos because there's less that I'm doing, right? It's usually just rambling. For the power wash ones, I'm usually doing a bit more commentary. Just in case people struggle with a particular map and then go searching for a video using the map or to play the map, and maybe they find it useful just to have a little bit of a technique dump. So delve a little bit into the sorts of things that I consider when I'm doing the job. There's a lot of things that you don't really think about when you're first playing the game. Okay, I should just use the scaffold for that. Let's just not waste time. That's one of the things, is you get a bit beelined into jumping around and doing the parkour. I also could probably be using the green nozzle for a lot of this stuff. Yeah. Because most of my videos tend to get picked up by people on recommendations. So if they're usually watching like Power Wash content or something, then it might be for a reason. It might be because they play the game, and it might be because they're wanting to see what other people do. Because you just kind of tunnel vision on your own thing a lot of the time. Maybe people are finding it a little bit tricky. Okay, we fell all the way to the ground. Time to just use the scaffold now. Up we go. Is this part of SpongeBob DLC? No, definitely not. I've cleared the SpongeBob DLC. This is the temple. It's a kind of forgettable level, to be honest, in the middle of the career. The plot bits in the comments do play into a couple of the kind of subplots that are going on. but it's not very interesting. It's something to do with the... I think it's established that the monks who live in this temple were the ones who egged the mayor's house, and the manure came from an accidental dumping out of like a plane or something. I don't know, it's weird. It's very weird. I really didn't pay a huge amount of attention to the plot. 100% still don't have no memory of this level. Yeah, you kind of breeze through it. So in the career progression, at least based on the early access, not early access, about that too, but the basic washer videos that I did, because I've been using that playlist as a guide for how to do things in free play, since you don't get the career again without resetting progress again. It came just after the treehouse and before the washroom. And the treehouse is really big and the washroom is really annoying. So I could understand if you then kind of were in a bit of a fugue state in between those two levels and missed this one or forgot about this one entirely. It's less distinctive than either of those levels, that's for sure. Did we get these figureheads? No, but it's because of the other side, I think. Yeah. Okay, so from up here, I want to make sure I get the top angles on a lot of this stuff. And this bit of the figureheads. But you pretty much do have to jump down onto that roof again to get the inside angles inside the barge boards, which is fine. And we'll just work our way down. Alright. Incidental ding. Always fun. Kind of hard to tell how well I'm cleaning some of this stuff. I'm probably going to have to pick up more later. I'm also going to have to move the scaffold along, but this is what I mean by having to come down here to do the inside of the barge board and the eaves. But then once they're done, everything else will clean from the outside. Remember the washroom and treehouse found this level shockingly easy compared to those two? Correct. Yes. Which is why you would have forgotten about it. Yes, this one was definitely much easier than... because the treehouse was mostly just large, but also annoying underneath. And all of the mold. Even with the heavy-duty washer, in early access, that level took me... I think it was like 2.5 hours. And then in basic washer run, it took me over 3 hours between two videos. And then with the Pro, it took me like 1 hour 20. For the washroom, yeah, that took a couple hours or something. It took ages with the basic washer because of all of the paint, just the graffiti that was around, and the mold. Such a pain. The washroom will be up next after I finish doing this, so I'm hoping I can just kind of breeze through it. Good. I was hoping that would ding. Yeah, see, we're getting a few incidental door. Oh, big ding. Nice. We love it when a ding comes together. Pretty much just entirely doing this side right now because, yeah, if I remember rightly, the time lapse is on the other side, so you just don't even see anything that happens over here. So I'll be jumping around the roof a bit on the time lapse, and then I'll just disappear for a minute while I do this. And the back as well. Need to copy and paste the washroom and double the size? Yep. It's pretty much identical. That was every time I've played that map. The first time I played it, the basic washer one especially, that was my big complaint. It's twice as big as it needs to be. It's also kind of a weird scale. But yeah, it could have been half the size and it would have been fine. But no, they just had to make it big. And it's not like you've got male-female sides or anything like that. It's unisex the whole way through. You've just got stalls plus urinals. And I think they could have rebalanced things and just had... I mean, it's weird because you've got like 4 urinals on each side or something? I don't know, we can analyze it when we get there. But then there's not much to talk about with this one because it is much easier. It felt like they could have just put all the stalls down the side that had the urinals, put the urinals on the other side where the sinks were, and just balanced it so you'd have like 4 stalls, 2 urinals, 3 sinks, done. And half the map size. Ding 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 ding. There's a little bit of that wall. There we go. Window frame, there we go. Large board, I'm guessing it's... Other side? Did I not do the full... Oh. I thought I did the other side. I must have only done it from one side of the roof. Comes to get most major level, you remember it's the subway? Yeah. Out of all the levels, it had to take me the longest. Even compared to the final level? I feel it'll be a toss-up between subway and final level. Subway, you've got lots of mold, lots of paint, and just big. Final level, you've got barnacles and big. I need to actually do a spreadsheet or something of all my levels and how long they took. But I've been referring to my playlists, and like, so it took me about 8 or 9 episodes to do the subway and I think the temple at the end. It was pretty absurd. But the interesting thing is, like I've mentioned before, the fact that the Pro Washer here is just so easy. Like, I'm not really having to think about anything. I have to think about angles. That's about it. And also, for some reason, I've not gotten something. Ah, that'll be right. Again, angles. So I have to think about angles. There we go. But the basic washer, I had to think a lot more about how I was doing the map. And it kind of made me appreciate the maps a bit more because of that. I mean, don't get me wrong, it also frustrated the hell out of me when they were just tedious. But I had to think about what I was doing a lot more. And it generally meant a cleaner result, like I didn't leave as much stuff at the end because I was paying more attention to what I was doing as I was doing it. Whereas with this, it's far too easy just to spray around just loosely. Final level took you 6 hours, subway took 10. Wow, okay. Even in my early access playthrough, the subway didn't take me that long. I can't remember how long it did take. I thought it was only like 3.5 hours or something. That's kind of one of the other reasons I want to start back again and do like an all achievements sort of run on a different profile. Because I've not actually gone through the game as intended, you could say. Like, my early access playthrough was the closest. But because I was playing it while I was still in early access, things weren't actually released at the same times. So there's a different cadence to how you could unlock things. I was wasting a lot of money on just like soap and cosmetics and stuff. So I didn't really get the actual experience of when things were available. So it'll be kind of interesting to go back and do it normally, quotation marks. Should probably just move the scaffold around here somewhere. There we go. What am I missing on this buttress now? Weird. Oh, this is counted as a buttress. Okay, that'll be why. So I know I had the heavy-duty washer for most of the subway, I think. Or all of the subway, even. I actually can't remember. But I didn't have a long attachment or something? I'd have to go back to my early access video and check. I know there was some sort of struggle. I think I was struggling to afford the attachments, like the long attachment, or the extra long attachment for the heavy-duty washer. So I was having to make do with ladders for a lot of it until I could afford it. So that was kind of painful. And I guess it depends, like if you were trying to do it with the urban washer, that would struggle not quite as much as the basic, but it would still struggle. Whereas if you've got at least a heavy duty, I think that doesn't really struggle as much anymore. I did the final level in one solid go, yeah. Took an hour break in the middle of the subway, yeah. Oh, I hate it when it kind of clips weirdly through things and just your view just swings around wildly. Weird to think I've known you as Too Strange to the Internet for about 3 years now. That is kind of weird. That is, yeah. That's the modern world we live in. We have these interesting get-togethers every now and then. It's how we meet new people these days, is, yeah, randomly, on Discords, in stream chats, YouTube comments, Reddit posts. That's how we connect with each other these days. Should be leaving the front till last. I don't know, I'm just spraying randomly. I was meant to go the other way and leave the front until last, so that's kind of silly of me. Never mind, it doesn't really matter. Let's put this down here now and see what we need to do up the top. Our tower extends the whole way round, I think. That's right. Ooh, hello. I had not cleaned that wall, apparently. Interesting. Or that roof, for that matter. Everything else looks clean, though. Window and decoration. The frame will need this angle. And also a lower angle, probably. Nope, just that one. That's good. The bottom sections I can do from the ground. I shouldn't waste time trying to do them here. I need to just make sure I'm prioritizing doing things from the side that I can only reach from the side. The behind of this large board here. Whereas the front-on stuff I can get from putting the scaffold around the back. Oh. Let's go down to the next layer. Get the rest of it. A lot of this stuff I can get from the front, back, whatever you want to call it. The side that isn't the one that I'm staring at. Probably never meet you in real life. Yeah, pretty much. An ancestor would never understand this modern world. You're not wrong. They would just think it's weird. We're like communicating as spirits or something. Yeah, I mean, it's a long way to travel for anyone to New Zealand. It's also a long way to travel for anyone for us to go anywhere else. I used to want to travel a lot more. It's nowadays a lot more difficult, just logistically with our daughter and her health issues. It's, yeah, a lot of logistics to have to plan in terms of anything long distance travel. So, becomes steadily less likely. But hey, things might be on the up. Never abandon all hope. Take off the extension. Do these bits in here. These bits in here are really annoying. I kind of wish it was more embossed than inset like that. Especially this bit here. It's such an awkward angle to try and get into. You're far too close to it to really clean it properly. Never feels like you're getting the right angle. And then there's the bit underneath. Is the base done? Is that buttress done? And that one. Good, good, good. Just kind of work your way up. It's the overhangs. The stuff over there is not done. A lot of the stuff's done though. Stone base is not, but that's because of this side. So, oh, it's looking really nice and clean. Horror music intensifies. Oh my god! Ring it around. Jet lag in full blown going outside of the globe, but also the opposite hemisphere. Yeah, opposite hemisphere doesn't actually make any difference if you're in the same time zone. Yeah, it doesn't really make any difference. But it's the going east or west that's the worst. For us, it's the worst when you go over to, like, the UK or Europe, because it's basically the opposite side of the world. So your entire routine has to completely flip. Whereas USA or Canada, it's basically just a few hours different than the previous day. So it's actually not so bad. Go. Make sure we get the top sides. These. It's basically a case of any time you travel long haul, just allow yourself a day or so to adjust afterwards. Just don't plan to do anything the first day. This is basically an Assassin's Creed symbol. I don't know if that's an intentional thing or not. With the amount of parkour you do in this game, may as well be intentional. They should have put like a hay bale cart something down the side for you to jump into. Would have been fun if that was the achievement instead of cleaning the gnome and leaving it on top. Should have been jump into the hay cart down the back of the temple from the roof. Just make the achievement literally called Leap of Faith. Be done with this. Yeah, that's the pillar done. Pedestal follows shortly. Excellent. A lot of the stuff will only clean from either the bottom or just if I go to the sides now. And of course the stuff on the left won't clean because I haven't been down that side yet. Let's do a nice up down on this window here. Canada's almost the exact on the other side of the globe to Australia. Yeah, and similar size too, I think. Yeah, it is much larger in terms of its empty coastline, and then Australia just has a lot of desert in the middle. Not sure about exactly the opposite though, I guess maybe. I know the antipode of New Zealand is southern Spain. So I think the antipode of Australia would basically be the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. I think it's not quite Canada, maybe a little bit of overlap. There's sites on the internet where you can project those sorts of things. Window frame. Ah, of course. There we go. Just get to tickle it underneath. Overhang. There we go. Eve. Excellent. Don't know where Adam is, but we've done the Eve at least. The pedestal probably needs the top of that. Yep, there we go. Excellent. I could probably be using the green nozzle on some of this stuff, but it's quite caked on, so I'm just assuming that I'm probably going to need to use the green. Just haven't really bothered trying to move this slightly longer. Right, let's go up to the top again. Yep, okay, and long extension. Nice, good start. Use some inside angles of that I'll need to get from the other side. That's alright. Roof ridge, there we are. Excellent. Nice. Barge boards, do the roof now. Try not to get too impatient. I don't need to do the other side yet. I'll get it from the next angle. Oh, I didn't finish doing this roof. How rude of me. Now that figurehead is a bit annoying. Now what still needs to be done on you, Mr. Figurehead? You're different. Yep. Is it something weird inside? We need to go investigate. Simply must investigate. No, it's not that. Do I need to clean in your mouth, Mr. Figurehead? That's all seeming mighty clean. Ah, there is a little bit there. Not sure what angle I can get it at. Ugh, I'm failing a lot of this parkour as well. There we go. Jump, jump, lean. Oh, yeah, we could use the trident. There we go. Okay. And now this one, probably something similar. Just do a bit of a lean. Lean in your mouth. There we go. Okay. These figureheads are really annoying. It's just because they're so tall. Whoop. Yeah, let's trident this up just for fun, hey? This is such an absurd nozzle. What were they thinking? Ah, see, now the annoying thing is I actually have to go back across there now. Because... missed the jump. I need to do the inside angle. Oh, not quite. Can I just see it from here? No, not quite. Okay. Here. There we go. If the scaffold was just one level higher, then I'd be able to see more. Make it a lot better. Antipode for Ottawa is around 1,500 kilometers from Perth in the Indian Ocean, yeah. And presumably the antipode for Perth is probably similar distance in the Atlantic Ocean. And Perth is barely Australia. Perth is most of the way to Singapore. Let's do this side of the roof down there. Because we can. And back across. I love that you can just change your air momentum. Oh, we were going down anyway, weren't we? So we should hopefully clean this roof bit. No, inside angle, looking down. Ah, of course. If we move the scaffold to the middle, then we'll get that. I need to move the scaffold to the middle of that just so I can kind of go one side to get one angle on the front. Move across, do the front, and then get the other angle on the other side. So it's taken us about half an hour or more to do this, so it's definitely not been super fast. I've definitely been getting distracted as well, which helps. I was expecting it to go a bit quicker on this one, to be perfectly honest. Cool, that's all of those done. And a lot of those I have to do up close and personal anyway. Yes. I need to go up the next level. There we go. Now I can. There we go. Immediately. Immediate ding on the roof. Yes. Okay. That's good. That's what I was hoping for from shooting down from the top, is that I'll be able to get those. Windows, the window frame I'll need to do the underside of, fairly sure. Roof ridge, barge board, be the undersides on the left. And I just need to look up at those. Figurehead I need to do the back side of, I think, don't I? I kind of already did that from the top, didn't I? There we go. Need the bit underneath. So roof ridge done. So here's where we kind of want to do this bit. But I still probably have to get closer to do the actual design on the buttress itself. Because there'll be the lower angle. And I need to do the bit under here. This is the weird little upswing thing. It's kind of odd. Water would just pool in there and would get moldy. Seems of an odd design choice. Oh yeah, I need to do this side as well. This should be almost done? Surely. Come on. What are we missing on this? Just some random bits. Nice. And then this. There we go. And just work our way around. Exact endpoint for Perth is the island of Bermuda. Oh, interesting. Found out the other day that you're a mod for ATS and UTS2 speedrunning boards. Correct. Because when I started doing some speedrunning for that game, the community was pretty much inert. I mean, it's not exactly active now, but I do try to remember to look at submissions within a month. There's not very many of them generally, but yeah, we have some discussions every now and then. There's been some community events and stuff have taken place. It's been kind of cool. I don't have as much time on it as I would like. I'd love to do more runs myself, but yeah, I at least try and curate it a little bit. Whereas when I started doing it, yeah, there wasn't much going on at all. Everyone had done a bunch of stuff when it first came out and then kind of forgotten about it. It was interesting because I'd come into it with some new strats where everyone seemed to think that using a particular gearbox was the best thing to do just because it had like the highest gears or whatever. No, it was the fastest acceleration, that's right. It was the 6-speed gearbox. But it didn't give you the good top speed, and most of the time you're just doing high-speed motorway cruising, so you want to maximize your top speed. And the Michelin pack, I didn't even realize made an effect until one of the other guys questioned, how can you go that fast? Like, I can only do like 173, and eventually we worked out that it was because I was using the Michelin tires, and they change the physical size of your truck. They don't mention it having any performance impact whatsoever in the game itself, but because the physical model of the truck does change, it actually affects things. So larger tires, higher top speed. It's a paid DLC, unfortunately, but it's a very small investment if you're serious about speedrunning the game. I mean, you have to buy the game in the first place to speedrun a game, right? So the idea, you get some people who complain that, oh, but it's a paid DLC, it's paywalling. Yes. You know, blame the devs, not us. You know, they're the ones who released it as a paid DLC, and but it's very cheap. It goes on sale a lot. Nice. Buttress done. Maybe try a little speedrun one day. That'd be cool. A lot of them are really easy to just get into, just casually, for a bit of fun. Like, you don't have to go super hard out. There is, in ATS, there's a new game category as well, so you don't even need to do New Game Plus. We haven't bothered with that on ETS2, but it's also not hard to set up your own account with really good stuff. If you've been playing the game a lot, then you've probably got to save with a ton of money and massive levels anyway, so you'll be able to immediately jump into the top stuff. But all that it takes is for you to be clearly playing the game fast. That's literally it. Just don't get up and spend 5 minutes away from your keyboard heating up a taco in the microwave. That's not good evidence of speedrunning. But in ATS, Reading to Yuma and Elko to San Diego do not require any additional DLC, I don't think. So they're good ones to kick off with. And there's the 10 delivery one and stuff, but they're just super cheesy. They're just kind of silly. I would love to think up a better way of doing an actual delivery-based one that wasn't just reset until you get stuff from Reading to Reading constantly. But First Truck Trailer is actually a really good one to start with, because that's just it's more of a casual gameplay similarity sort of thing. Like, you actually have to do the deliveries properly and stuff. Though you can just, in ETS2, you can set up just a little route, just doing laps around Berlin, which is kind of funny. In ATS, you can probably do a similar sort of circuitous route somewhere that just racks up kilometers, so you get bonus XP. Not actually experimented as much in ATS with that. I probably should actually, because that would be more interesting. I do find it hard not to prefer ETS2 for speedrunning though, because the trucks are just nicer to drive, being the flat-nosed trucks. They have a better turning circle. Just a lot more nimble. The American ones, because the fastest engines are in the old Peterbilt and Kenworths. And I think the Kenworth has the advantage in terms of fuel tank for longer speedruns. But they've got a terrible wheelbase. But again, most of the time you're just cruising on the motorway, so it doesn't matter too much. Right, I think we move this around the front now. Nebraska was announced. Yes, it was. Should be good. It's a bit of a nothing state in some respects, but then I've thought that about a lot of the others that they've done, like Oklahoma, wasn't it? Oklahoma I was not expecting much of, but really enjoyed driving through it. The joy in the DLCs tends to be that the towns and cities that they put in to help bring them to life and give a little bit of extra ambiance, that tends to be what makes it. There's some interesting places in Nebraska, so should be good. Yeah, I wasn't surprised. Yeah, exactly. It's not like you can't predict where they're going to go next. Though they could kind of pivot and just start filling in the south coast and just work their way across to Florida. Yeah, I think no one would really blame them if they decided to do that. Just get the coast to coast in early. That'd be kind of nice if you kind of worked around the edges and then filled in the gaps in the meantime. Or have one team doing that while one team also works on filling in the gaps. Either way. I've got some options. I'm looking forward to the Dakotas though, because there's some cool scenery up around the Dakota Way with the Badlands. I'm still kind of hoping that they do that they tack Canada on in like 2 DLCs or something, 2 or 3 maybe. Because you've got Washington already, so a BC Rocky Mountains DLC would not be out of the question. Like, just do a Canadian Rockies so that it goes from Vancouver across to Edmonton and Calgary. That'd be cool. The scaffolding's now just in my way. And then later on, after doing like the Great Lakes and stuff, then they could work in Ontario perhaps. What's left? So I don't even have a checklist left, so I must have missed a bunch of small things. Okay, what have I missed? Barge boards, okay, I'm missing a barge board, figurehead, ledges, roofs, roof ridges, yeah. So it's all the stuff that I would have picked up more reliably. Oh, this figurehead, there we go. More reliably picked up with the basic washer, because I've been paying more attention to what I was doing it as I was doing it. Whereas with this, I'm just kind of wafting around and not really focusing. Where's the bits that I've missed? Oh, lots in here, okay. That would do it. Okay. I completely missed this whole area in here. Alright, so then ledge and roof. There's the ledge, so I probably need to get that from the top. Roof, I'm not sure about where that is, but... there we go. Over here again, Mr. Scaffold. Wink. Okay. There's the roof. And then ledge underneath. Straight on. Okay, there we go. Done. Excellent. A little bit messy. Yeah, didn't pay quite enough attention to things as I should have, but that happens. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Are they doing all of the USA, Hawaii, and Alaska included? I don't know. Be interesting. Alaska could be a tricky one. I mean, they could theoretically tack that on at any point just with ferries from Washington or California. Hawaii would be fun. Again, just ferry. They could do that as any point. Alright. That's the temple done.